So my next question real quick before I answer is, did you happen to track? I know you went over yesterday, but did you happen to track it?
I
Yeah.
couldn't weigh the meat. Yeah, that's the only
No,
thing.
that's
I
cool.
wanted to, but yeah,
It's impractical. It's
Mhm.
impractical. Like, it's like ideally, like I always have to look through this lens because it's like ideally, like, yeah, bro, I would love for you guys to have like a food scale attached to your hip and like it's there everywhere. It's not real, right? And so you always have to balance like optimal versus practical. I talk about this a lot, but it's like, would it be optimal for you to have that? Yeah, for sure. Is it practical? No, not really. And the other factor is like, I don't know if you cooked it yourself or not, but I'm just gonna give an example. Like, if you didn't, you don't know what oil it was cooked in. You don't know what
Yeah.
percent fat it was. So even if they told you, yeah, it's chuck roast, it's like, okay, what percent? Like, what percent fat was it? What oil did you cook it in? How long was it cooked for? Like, there's so many factors that would change how many calories that you ate that you really just don't know anyways, even if you did track it.
God. Yeah.
So when you guys are in situations where you can't track to a T like you could at home when you're doing it yourself, it's always going to be a rough estimate. It's just going to be it's going to be ballpark, right? It's never going to be perfect. The only thing that's perfect and never ever lies is the scale. Okay.
Yeah.
So like that's it. Your weight scale, not the food scale, your weight scale. If your weight went
Mhm.
up, you probably overate calories.
Mhm.
Obviously there's fluctuation day to day, but I'm saying in general, if you know you went to the 4th of July cookout and you know you smashed food and the next day you're 3 to 4 pounds heavier than you were the day before, yeah, bro, it's because we crushed food yesterday. Like that
Mhm.
happens, right? And maybe sometimes it actually takes a day to hit. Kind of depends on the person. Because some people they don't see it the next day, but they see it the day after, the following day.
Mhm.
So when you guys are in those settings, like don't worry about getting it to a T. It's not gonna be perfect. But what I wanted to show you, Emilio, now to just like answer your question finally, I just needed to lay the context for everybody, is
Mhm.
calorie lag is just like a very good, it's not something that you guys have to track at all. I don't track this for anybody. It's just more of you guys understanding the concept of it. Right. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but like it's more of a conceptual thing. I have a friend that coaches, but he coaches like software engineers and stuff. And so like they love this. So he has all his clients have a calorie lag spreadsheet and like he has like a metric, like a running metric. Like it's crazy. He's who I learned this from. My style, like I'm not gonna have you guys do that. I don't feel like it's very practical. His guys love it, but it's just kind of how they are. He used to be a software engineer, now he coaches software engineers. So like they're all like nerding out over their spreadsheet, which is fine. I'm a spreadsheet guy too, so I get it. But I would not have you guys do this in real time unless you wanted to. So let's say what was yesterday? Yesterday was Thursday.
Yeah.
So let's say Emilio, like for example, target was 200 or 2,000. Let's say yesterday you had like 3,000, right? Your net
Mhm.
would be plus 1,000, right? So
Yeah.
your options to like balance that out, right? Which isn't this isn't the worst thing in the world. Let's just say you go back to 2,000 a day, you do nothing, and then your net just stays 1,000. Like this is fine. Like this could be an option. You just have to know that you're a
And
thousand
be able to.
calories over.
Mhm.
The problem that people run into and guys run into is they'll be net 1,000, and like next weekend comes and it's like maybe this day wasn't that bad, and then maybe this day Sunday they blew it out again, and so it's like 1,500, then it's 2,500, and then they don't do anything about it again. So they go back and it's still 2,500 and they let this play out. And then another weekend comes, but this weekend they were only bad one day, but they were really bad that day. Right now they're back. And so they never really address it.
Yeah.
And so
I see what you're talking there.
it
It's
sneaks
like
up.
credit card debt
It's like
almost.
credit card debt. Yeah, it sneaks up. That's why I always use a finance example for calories because it just makes sense. It's like, bro, it sneaks up on you.
Mhm.
Like this is how guys will come to DK and they're like, dude, I don't know how I'm overweight. Like I eat pretty good most of the time. Yeah. Like most of the time, this
Oh,
person is
okay.
eating what they're supposed to be eating, but it sneaks up. And if you're going off the math of 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat,
Oh shit. Yep, there it is.
which is the math, I mean, this doesn't mean you gained a pound, but it could mean you were supposed to lose 2 pounds, but only lost 1 pound. So you have a slower progress than you otherwise would.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that visual. I like that visual.
So it's a good visual because like you really get to see it. And like if anybody's ever dealt with credit card debt, and like I've been there, like I've dealt with it,
Mhm.
right? Like, bro, like
Been
it
there.
doesn't seem like anything's going on. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I'm XYZ in the hole. How did that happen? And I get it, bro. I've been there. It sucks. It's sneaky. It was the same way with calories. So
Mhm.
in terms of what I would do in your situation is you kind of have these options, right? So if yesterday was a 3,000 calorie day, you're now net 1,000. Your options
Mhm.
today are go 1,000 and net this out 0,
Yeah.
right? And then just go back to what you're normally doing, right? So you net it out today.
Yeah. Today I'm actually, yeah. If I stop today, actually, yeah, it'll put me at about negative to be like as of right now about 1100. You know, and
Yeah.
I'll be making
Yeah.
up. So
So like you could net it out all in one day. Like you
mm.
could, but you could also do like you have options is what I'm just trying to show you
Yeah.
here. Is like you could also do 1750 and now you're
Mhm.
only 17, 750. And then you do
Yeah.
1750 again. And now you're 500. And then you do 1750 for 4 days and you're back
No,
to
you're back to zero down.
net zero, right?
Mm.
So all kinds of ways you can do it, right?
Okay.
It's really personal preference, but really you just want to net it out based on your target. And again, this is not going to be a perfect thing, bro. It's not going to be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, one, we don't know how much you ate yesterday. Two, like your target is already a deficit.
Mhm.
So it's like, we can't really use this to predict weight loss, but we can use it to predict like, hey, rate of progress is going to be impacted based on every 3,500 calories net that you have. You're going to lose about a pound of progress for every 3,500 calories you have. You guys are so far in deficits that like it shouldn't prevent you from losing weight unless you show me like, 1,000 calories over every single day for 2 weeks in a row. Right. But it will slow you down. So lag is more used here in our setting of like, hey, this is how you can judge a slowdown. So like anytime I've ever had a guy and like, I don't know. Some coaches are afraid to admit like sometimes clients don't see success. Like we're like very open with you guys. It's like, bro, like, yeah, you have to do the stuff. Like if it doesn't work, yeah, of course it's not gonna work. So of course it happens where we have guys come to us and they're like, dude, I'm not losing weight as much as I want, or like my progress is slow. First thing I do, Red, I did it earlier. I just opened your account. I was like, well, let's see what your food was the other day because you had that little spike. And I'm not saying you did this, Red. I'm just using an example of anytime somebody has like a weight thing going on, I just look right at their log. And if somebody has a weight spike, but I don't see it in the log, I know for sure there's something they're not telling me.
Yeah.
For 100%. If a guy's weight stops and it says he's been eating his calorie balance every single day, but his weight's going up or it's staying the same, and he's tracking his walking, he's tracking his workouts, and everything else remains the same, they're just not tracking something either intentionally or unintentionally. But either way, there's a tracking issue, right? So you can always see it with lag. And I can tell roughly why a guy's progress is gone just based on how this works because of the net calories that you have. So Emilio, like my opinion is, hey, you can either nix it today or do a 1,500 calorie day today, a 1,500 calorie day tomorrow, and then you're back to good on Sunday, right? And you just go back to what you were doing. So that's how I always do it. And then in the future, the last thing I'll show here is you can plan for it. So like if you know,
Yeah.
like if you knew, which I mean, we could have the conversation of like, hey, dude, it was the 4th of July, but you didn't know this system, so it's fine.
Mhm.
But next 4th of July, right? If you know going into it, you want to plan for like 4,000 calories, you could just fast the day before.
Oh.
Yeah, because then you go negative net, and now this positive net it evens out.
Damn, that's dope. I like that.
So that's what I do. So like
Mhm.
that same buddy that taught me this, Peyton, I end up talking about this guy in like every call because like me, him, and Gabe just talk about this stuff all the time. So it's like we do this when we want to go on ice cream runs. So like we say like let's lag it out, right? Like we never really turn one down. We just find a way to lag it out. Like I can get an ice cream if I want to get ice cream, I go and get it. I just find a way to make it work. Whether I'm ahead of schedule that day, so I just make it work calorie wise, or the next day I add in some walking or I cut some food the next day, bro, I'll make it work. Like I'll find a way. If I want to get some, I'll get some, right? And I'll make it work because you can just play with the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
One thing that we figured out is the ice cream shop right down the road from us. I can get like a kiddie scoop. It's like 350 calories or something, or it's like 300 calories. I can get like the adult scoop. It's like, I don't know, it's like 10 ounces ice cream. It's like, or I think it's 8 ounces ice cream or 10 ounces ice cream. It's like 750 calories. But we figured out that the ice cream shop's like 1.1 miles from our apartment building for all of us. And we know that around like 1 mile, you'll burn about 100 calories walking. So I know I'm going to burn about like 220 calories on my way there. So like if I walk to the ice cream shop and I just get the kiddie scoop, it's almost like net zero ice cream.
No, I guess.
You know what I mean? If I drove there, like, yeah, it's 300 calories. But if I walk there, it's like, it's like a net 80. I can easily make up for that somewhere else. Like I'll just not have mayonnaise on my sandwich and save myself 80 calories. And then I have room to go get the ice cream. So you can play with this. It gets freaky, right? Like you can do some serious numbers. Peyton found out that the coffee shop that we all do work blocks at, if he gets 2 tablespoons of creamer, it's like 50 calories. But he found that the walk from his apartment complex or his apartment building, he lives in a different one than us, but his apartment building to the coffee shop, his net works out to like 47 calories burned. So he's like, well, if I just walk to the coffee shop and I get 2 tablespoons of the creamer, this is a net zero coffee. It's cool. I walked there. Right. So it's like little stuff like that. That's like weird and you wouldn't think of it, but it all adds up. I'll take it. I'll take every 100 calories burned I can get. Right. So if I can walk on a call, I'll walk on a call. If I can walk, I don't know, to a store, I'll walk to a store. Like generally, if it's functional, I'll do it. Right. If I can, because those calories do add up and it gives you way more flexibility and just makes it easier to maintain or even improve your rate of progress. So that's my whole shtick there on calorie lag and how I would do that. Right. So it gives you a lot of flexibility.